Warnock. Welcome to Dude Food. Today we're going to make chocolate zucchini cake. Now, I know what your immediate reaction is because I had the same one. Zucchini and chocolate cake sounds gross. Okay, but let's talk about zucchini before you jump off that cliff of judgment, pull on your judgy pants too fast. Zucchini is an interesting vegetable because it is flavorless and it has a lot of moisture to it. So like if you're making it in a standard kind of application, like an Italian dish or something, you gotta load it up with butter and garlic and seasonings and flavor to make anything of it. In this cake, what happens is we shred the zucchini and we fold it in with the rest of the cake ingredients. Well, you can't taste it at all. It cooks and collapses into the cake, but it exudes this moisture that makes the cake just really, really amazing. And you're gonna see. So here we go, chocolate zucchini cake. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna shred the zucchini using a box grater. And so I'm just gonna nip off the little end there. I'm gonna shred it up like this. This allows it to kind of, when we fold it into the cake, it'll just collapse in and lend its moisture. The other great thing about chocolate zucchini cake is you can feel just a little bit less guilty about eating chocolate cake because you know that you're getting your vegetables. I know that your kids will like that idea too. What we need is about 2.5 to 3 cups of shredded zucchini, which is about 1 medium to large size zucchini. I'll keep going at this and then see how much we have. And I'm just finishing the last of this. And so, look at that. That's probably a couple cups. I'm gonna want a little more, but I don't know if you can see how moist that is. I've got another zucchini here. Let me keep going just a little bit more. All right, there we go. That looks about right. So I'm gonna take this, set this in a bowl, set it aside, and we'll move on with the rest of the recipe. All right, let's get started on our cake. Here in a big mixing bowl, I have 1 2/3 cups of sugar. And to this, we're gonna add a 1/2 stick of butter. And then you can either use a 1/2 cup of oil, like vegetable oil, or one of your options is to use unsweetened applesauce. And since this is a healthy recipe, I'm gonna go the applesauce route. Just like this. Let's see, what else? We want a teaspoon of vanilla, which I have right here. And then in here is baking powder, baking soda, and a little salt. So we're going to add that. And then we're going to cream this together and combine it, and then I'll add the eggs. All right, so I've got those ingredients creamed together, and now I'm going to add 2 eggs, one at a time. There's one. And let's mix that right in. We'll add a second one. You'll notice that I don't have a mixer, don't have a hand mixer, don't have a stand mixer. I do this entirely by hand, and you can absolutely do it that way. It just takes a little bit of exertion. Great, there's the second egg. All right, the next step is to start working in some of the dry ingredients. So I have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm gonna mix in about 1/2 of that to begin with. It'll take it just a little bit to get combined. And I'm kind of making a mess here. If you had a mixer, you probably wouldn't have as much mess as I'm having right here. Tell you what, I'm gonna change tools over to the wooden spoon so I can scrape the sides a little bit better. Okay, so that thickens up the dough a little bit. So I'm gonna add a semi-liquid ingredient. This is a 1/2 cup of yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt or regular yogurt. Either one will work just fine. So I'm gonna mix this in. And then after that goes in, I'll add the rest of the flour. Okay. Getting there nicely. All right, here goes Some more of the flour. Try to fold that in. Make less of a mess this time. That's coming together pretty good. And here's the rest of the flour. Now, if you're a baker, you'll notice that this dough is kind of stiffening up as you add all this flour. But here in a second, we're going to fold in the zucchini, which is really going to moisten the whole thing up. So here's the rest of that. See, that's pretty stiff right there. Okay. Now let me check my recipe, make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. All right, yes, before we do the zucchini, I need to add, this is 3/4 of a cup of Dutch processed cocoa. So I better do this in phases too so I don't make a mess. There comes some of that chocolatey goodness. And then also along with this cocoa powder, I have a couple tablespoons of espresso powder, which if you know your flavors, coffee and chocolate really go together well. And so that's going to make a nice addition. So there's the rest of the cocoa powder. Oh man, I'm going to get a workout from this. This dough is really stiffening up nicely. And the espresso powder as well. All right, and my last step is to fold in this shredded zucchini until it gets incorporated. And this is what's going to reintroduce some moisture to this nice stiff chocolate cake dough. And I want to combine it, all right, you can kind of see the little threads of zucchini. I want to stir them in until they're well coated with the chocolate, and then you'll see they start to kind of blend in to where you can't really see them nearly as well anymore. Okay. I think that's ready. All right, here I have a standard 9x13 baking pan. If you have baking spray, you can spray that on it. What I did is I just sprayed some olive oil cooking spray, kind of like pan, and then dusted it with flour to prepare the pan. And so we're going to turn out the this batter into the pan. Let me switch over to a spatula. I probably should have started with one to begin with, but this is the great thing about cooking, man. You just you figure things out as you go along, and if you make mistakes, you just play through. But I do want to get all of this batter out, and the spatula is going to help me do that. So, see if we can spread this evenly around. You heard that beep? That is my oven, which I have preheated to 325 degrees. And this is going to bake for about 35 to 40 minutes. And we'll check it, and when a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean and without any batter sticking to it, we'll know that it's done. That's kind of standard for most cakes. All right, let's pop this in the oven. All right, while the cake's in the oven, we're going to work on the frosting. For the frosting, we're going to do chocolate ganache. Ganache is pretty straightforward. What you do is you warm up some whipping cream, bring that to a simmer, pour it over the chocolate. These are semi-sweet chocolate pieces. I sprung for Ghirardelli, the good stuff. And we'll pour it over there and then let it sit there for about 5 minutes and kind of melt the chocolate. And then we'll start slowly stirring it together, and then it'll form up. And then after the cake has come out of the oven and cooled, we'll put the frosting on there. All right, I've heated my cream just to a gentle simmer on the stove, so I'm going to come and pour it over the chocolate chips. and then we'll leave it to sit for a few minutes. When you're warming your cream, be sure that you stir it and be sure you use a gentle heat, like a medium low, so that it doesn't scorch. We'll let that sit for a minute. All right. The heat's had some time to work, so let's see if we can get this to start to combine. I've only done Ganache a few times, and the folks that I've read say that it takes a little bit of time to come together, but you just have to be patient with it. And as it cools, it's supposed to get thicker, because right now it doesn't look like it'd be. See, there we go. See how that color is starting to bloom? I'll just be patient with it. Yeah, see there how glossy that is? There, it's starting to come. Beautiful. Look at that. Wow. Okay, that looks ready. All right, it's been in the oven for 35 minutes. Let's check it. Here we go. Oh man, that looks beautiful. All right. All right, classic way to test for doneness is to take a toothpick and slide it in the middle and see if it comes out clean. Yes, just a few little crumbs. That is absolutely perfect. All right, now we're gonna let this sit here and cool for probably half an hour, and then we'll put the frosting on top. All right, the cake's been cooling for about half an hour. It's still got a little warmth to it. So we're gonna try to put the frosting on now. You can see this chocolate ganache has kind of thickened up, and I think after we put it on there, it's probably going to be the path of wisdom to allow it to kind of set up for a little bit. So I'm just gonna, I don't know if I'm doing this right, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just gonna pour this down the middle. And I actually thought about poking holes in the cake to let the frosting go down in the middle of it, but I don't know, maybe next time. All right, so let's see if I can just spread this around. I think this is going to be amazing. Really get it all done. Get some in the corners there. I actually can't wait to serve this to my skeptical friends who thought that zucchini cake was going to be disgusting. All right, just a little more. In that corner, there we go. All right, I'm gonna let this continue to cool, and we'll come back when it's ready to serve. All right, the cake has cooled, and it's time to cut into it. Here with me I have my buddy Eric, and Eric, is it fair to say that you're a chocolate zucchini cake skeptic?
Yes, when Mark first told me he was making chocolate zucchini cake, I had the reaction that most people did, and
all right, well, I'm about to give you a gigantic piece of it.
all right, I'm excited. I like chocolate, I like zucchini, but together...
You've never had them together before,
No,
have you?
no.
Let's see if I can get this out without completely destroying this.
It looks like a...
Oh,
just looks
look
like
at
cake.
that. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Let me get one out for me. All right, Eric, tasting time.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
All right. Doesn't that look good? All right, let's see what he thinks.
Yeah, it tastes like cake.
Man, what a
It tastes like cake.
nonplussed.
Yeah.
Can't tell there's any zucchini in
No.
it, can you?
It's like a brownie.
Yeah. It's got that nice,
It's very brownie, like...
it's got some fudginess to it, right? And so it's really a cake recipe, but because all that moisture from the chocolate is in there, or sorry, from all the zucchini. All right. So what does your skeptical self say now, huh?
If you didn't tell me there was zucchini in here, I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known. All right, friends, so that's chocolate zucchini cake. I'm gonna post the recipe along with the video. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Dude Food. I'm Mark Warnock. This is my friend Eric. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, man. This is good. Super moist.